Hey everyone, and welcome. Think about it. Every single day, we make tons of choices about what to eat. In this explainer, we're going to break down 5 super simple keys that can totally transform those choices and, transform your health right along with them. So let's dive in. All right, first things first, let me ask you something. Do you really think just eating, 3 meals a day, making sure you feel full, is that really enough to be healthy? Yeah, the answer is a big, fat no. See, it's not just that you eat, it's what you eat. That's where the real magic happens, in choosing the right foods. And that brings us right to our very first key. It all starts with making the right choice, right? It's all about finding that perfect balance on your plate. We've all heard the phrase balanced diet a million times. But what does that even mean? Well, it's not about what you can't eat, it's about all the awesome stuff you should include. The whole idea is to feed our bodies by grabbing a little something from all the major food groups. That way, we get that full spectrum of nutrients we need to really, thrive. Of course, food is super personal, right? What we eat is all tied up in our culture, our beliefs, and just what we like. But here's the thing, that idea of balance, it applies no matter what. So yeah, absolutely enjoy the foods you love, but the key is always moderation. Especially when it comes to the junk food, we gotta keep that in check. Okay, so building on that idea of balance, let's talk about key number 2. This one's all about where our food actually comes from. We're talking about choosing foods that are seasonal and local. And trust me, this simple little shift has some seriously powerful benefits. So why even bother eating what's in season? Well, the perks are huge. For one, the food is at its absolute peak. It's fresher, which means it just tastes way better and it's jam-packed with more nutrients. And get this, because there's so much of it, it's usually cheaper. You're literally getting better quality for less cash. Who doesn't want that? Just think about it, right? Those incredibly sweet, juicy mangoes and that refreshing watermelon that are just perfect in the summer. And then compare that to the hearty carrots, peas, and cauliflower that we love in the winter. Eating with the seasons is just a natural, easy way to keep things interesting and delicious. And you know what? The exact same logic applies to eating local. I mean, when your food doesn't have to travel halfway across the world to get to your plate, it's just going to be fresher, it's going to be easier to find, and, you guessed it, less expensive. It's a total win-win for you and for your local community. All right, let's move on to our third key, and this is a big one. We're about to bust the myth that eating healthy has to cost a fortune. Okay, listen up, because this is so important to get. A high price tag or some fancy packaging does not mean better nutrition. It just doesn't. In fact, some of the most nutritious foods on the planet are also the most affordable. Here's a perfect example for you. Almonds are awesome. We all know that. But man, they can be pricey. But what about ground nuts or peanuts? They offer a fantastic, super budget-friendly source of protein and healthy fats. See? It's all about making smart swaps, not about making sacrifices. And it doesn't even stop there. Think about sprouting pulses like lentils or chickpeas right at home. That dramatically boosts their vitamin content for basically pennies. Or what about fermented foods like idli and dosa? Not only are they delicious and cheap, but they are amazing for your gut health. Okay, on to key number 4. This one is all about choosing foods that give you the most nutritional bang for your buck, and then combining them in clever ways to make them even more powerful. So some foods are just natural all-stars, Milk, for instance, is often called an almost complete food, and for good reason. Eggs are just packed with high-quality protein and all sorts of nutrients. Cereals, they give us energy, and vegetables are your absolute go-to for essential vitamins and minerals. Making sure you include these is like taking a shortcut to better nutrition. But now, here's where things get really, really cool. You can actually make your food more nutritious just by pairing certain things together. It's this idea called food synergy, where it's like 1 plus 1 suddenly equals 3. Let's look at some classic combos. You take rice and dal, staples for so many people. When you put them together, you create what's called a complete protein, because their amino acids just fit together perfectly. The same thing happens with idli or dosa. Even something as simple as roti with sabzi gives you this fantastic mix of energy and vitamins. It's ancient wisdom, totally backed up by modern science. Wow, we've covered a ton of ground, haven't we? So let's wrap it all up with our 5th and final key, a super simple checklist to help guide your choices every single day. So Let's run through that checklist one more time. First, eat with the seasons and buy local. That gets you the freshest, most nutritious food for the best price. Second, always remember that healthy does not have to be expensive. Make those smart swaps. Third, load up your plate with those nutrient-rich foods that really work hard for your body. And finally, combine your foods wisely to unlock their full power. When it comes down to it, it all boils down to this really powerful idea. Eating right equals staying healthy. It's not about complicated rules or deprivation. It's just about making a bunch of small, smart choices that over time add up to a healthier, more awesome you. So I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. Thinking about everything we just talked about, what is one simple, smart food choice you can make in your very next meal? The power to change your health is right there on your plate. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.